You're brainwashed. She's in your way.
You're in my way, Mom. We're just gonna pack our bags. Come on, Hannah.
Yeah. We went upstairs and start packing. My name is Hannah. I'm 42 years old. I used to have a job, but now I'm a stay-at-home mom. Because the plan was for me to keep working. But my son was developing slowly and I wanted to take care of him by myself. I quit my job when my son was 1 year old and have been housewife ever since. I live with my mother-in-law. This cohabitation is something I knew before I got married to my husband. I thought my mother-in-law and I had a good relationship until she pointed out the child's stunted growth. Now the relationship is a disaster. My husband Andy has gone on a long overseas business trip and I have no one on my side. My mother-in-law's sarcastic attacks started when my son turned 1 year old. We still had a good relationship and went together to my son's first checkup. And there, the doctor said to me, "Is he going to walk yet?" And my mother-in-law changed. The car ride home was quiet, and my mother-in-law was merely displeased. She wears her emotions on her sleeves. The doctor's words made her brow darken and she became meek. After returning home, my mother-in-law's verbal abuse began. "I can't believe you gave birth to a handicapped son. I knew that an elderly mother would give birth to a son like this." "Mother, he's not handicapped, he's just—" "Shut up! The doctor said he wouldn't walk yet." "They did say that, but babies develop in all different ways. My mother said I was a slow walker too, and I started walking at 18 months old. Every baby is unique." My mother-in-law stares at me. "That's what mothers of handicapped children often say. Disability is a personality? Are you kidding me? You know how embarrassing this is to me." I resent my mother-in-law's comment. Children are parents' treasure. No one has a child with a disability from choice. They have many conflicts and suffered from many hardships. Even so, when a child showed you a different side from yesterday, you'd be happy for the growth of the child. Your comment is an insult to those who are doing their best to raise their children. My mother-in-law snickered. "Don't talk big to me. I don't care about others." "But you're embarrassed to face other people. If you don't care about the others, you should know that they don't matter, because they are strangers." "You're really cheeky. I didn't want you as my son's wife from the start." I was upset that my mother-in-law could change so drastically at the slightest word from a doctor. But I was sure this was her true nature. From that day on, although we lived together, we never saw each other. I couldn't talk to my husband about it. Although she is verbally abusive, she is still an important mother to my husband. And because our relationship had been so good up to that point, talking to him on the phone would only create confusion. But I wanted my husband to focus on his work, so I decided to face my child alone. But things were not so easy. One day, my mother-in-law came to my room and complained. "Hey, you should put him in an institution." "What?" "That boy. You can't keep him in this house forever. He's a handicapped child." "Do you think I would give him up?" "I'm saying I don't want to live with a handicapped child." "I mean, he just taking some time to start walking." "Don't talk back to me. I know what I'm talking about." "What?" "He's got a lot of your grandmother's blood in him." What? What my mother-in-law's trying to say was that my grandmother was blind. She was already blind when I was born. And now she's trying to tell me that I inherited her. It's true that she was totally blind. But that happened when she had Behçet disease when my mother was still in elementary school. There is no proven inheritance of Behçet's. When I got married, my grandmother came all the way to explain it to my mother-in-law. She deeply cared about me and told me, "Hannah's marriage would be ruined If she thought that my eyes were genetic. My grandmother had such wonderful heart. Back then, even my mother-in-law said that I had a nice grandmother. But behind our back, my mother-in-law was thinking like that. I thought at the time that I didn't want my grandchildren to inherit it. Now, see what's happening. I'm not kidding about the handicapped family. You've got to be kidding me. What are you talking about? I can't hear you. Maybe your grandmother was a bad influence. Did she turn on your husband, mother, like you are doing? Maybe that's what got her blind. Take it back. My grandma was bullied from a bitch mother-in-law like you. She barely got to eat and was thrown out barefoot in the cold northeast. She got sick from the stress. Because of a bitch like you. My mother-in-law flinched at my retort, but she was not defeated. Oh, so her husband didn't protect her. Your grandma is not a good judge of character. He couldn't protect her. Grandpa was drafted into Siberia. When he returned home safely, he left his parents' house as soon as he found out the truth. But he couldn't make it in time. He regretted it until the day he died. He tried his best to take care of my grandma. Don't you dare disrespect my grandparents, you old hat. They are so pathetic. You are the pathetic one. Now I know why your husband divorced you. You're more pathetic than my grandma because your husband is still alive and well. You are the one who got dumped because of your arrogance. Shut up. I won't accept a handicapped child anyway. My mother-in-law went downstairs, her footsteps thumping. I couldn't stay here any longer. I quickly called my parents' house and briefly explained the situation. Then I packed my bags and I put on my shoes at the front door. Oh, you are leaving? Thanks to you, I learned a lot about my mother-in-law's true nature. Please, take it easy on yourself. Oh, now you are alone again. Your husband is gone, your son is gone. Your daughter-in-law will also leave you. Good luck. My mother-in-law, perhaps offended by my comment, was about to follow me out to the but I closed the door as hard as I could and left. When I arrived at the nearby cafe, my parents had already arrived. My parents had only one thing to say. Each child grows up differently. They welcomed me. Later that night, I received a call from my husband. My mom called me. She was very angry. Oh, yes. What happened? She's making a big deal about our child having a disability. I'm sorry to bother you at work. Never mind. You know, about 2 weeks ago, there was a 1-year-old checkup. I went with your mother and the doctor told me that our son doesn't walk yet. When she heard that, she told me that he was handicapped because of my grandma's genetic disorder. I couldn't hold back my tears. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you. It's okay. I'm sorry about your grandma too. I'm sorry my mother said such horrible things about her. Yeah, but I was angry too. I called her a bitch. Yeah, well said. She's a bitch. Not all kids grow up the same. Yeah, I agree. I think that's true. Let's just take our time to see how our child grows up. Anyway, I'm gonna head back out there in a few days. Just stay safe until I get back. My husband had the same opinion. That alone made me feel much better. I agreed with him and stayed away from my mother-in-law's house until he returned home. A week later, he came back temporarily. My husband directly came to my parents' house. Have you been okay since then? Has she done anything to you? No, I haven't gone back there. I haven't heard from her. Well, that's good. I'm gonna go back to talk to my mom about moving out. I'll go with you. Oh, you sure you okay with that? Yeah. I've got some stuff I want to bring home. And my mom can take care of her son. We headed to my in-laws' house together. When we arrived there, I found not only my mother-in-law, but also my sister-in-law. My mother-in-law was smiling at my husband, but her face towards me was so cold as ever. Welcome home.
Can you stay a little longer this time? Why is my sister here too?
Because we need to talk about the divorce. We need to talk about it as a family.
No, I'm just packing my stuff. I just came to tell you that I'm leaving.
What?
You're going to choose a crippled child over me? I'm your mother. Yeah, I know. And I'm ashamed of you, having a low-level mother like you. You've been brainwashed. You're a real pain in the ass, Hannah. You are in my way, Mom. We're just gonna pack our bags. Come on, Hannah.
Yeah. We went upstairs and started packing. Not longer after that, my mother-in-law came upstairs too.
Let me help you.
You know, I think I was out of line.
I want to see my grandchild regularly, even if we have to live separately from now on.
You should come to see me once in a while. What's got into her? She has suddenly become sweet. I stared at my mother-in-law, but my husband completely ignored her. He's quietly packing his bag. Hannah, you left your things in my room. It must be the ring your grandmother gave you. You lent it to me once. Take it with you. I'll help you pack. I left my room and headed for the stairs. My sister-in-law was right there in front. She was just going downstairs too. I was about to talk to her when she tripped on something and fell down the stairs. I rushed to the stairs as quickly as I could. What my sister-in-law tripped on was a transparent thread that had been intentionally set. I stepped over the transparent thread and ran to my sister-in-law. She fell on her face and was not moving. I left the scene and called an ambulance. Oh, Hannah, you screwed up. Did you fall down the stairs? My mother-in-law seems to be standing at the top of the stairs. Hannah? Are you okay? I heard my husband's voice. As you can see, I'm fine. But she's not. She fell down the stairs. Please call an ambulance. I ran back to my sister-in-law. I turned her onto her back. I was about to lay her down a little away from the stairs. Oh my God! Why did it happen to you? My mother-in-law screamed and tried to run down the stairs. Mother, no, the thread! She caught on the thread with such force that she went flying through the air and took a huge leap off the staircase. Andy, no! The transparent thread is still there. How did this happen? My mother-in-law was knocked to the floor with a mighty thump. Hannah, can you call an ambulance? I'll call the police. Yeah. The in-laws' house were in an uproar. 2 ambulances rushed into the scene, and even a police car. My sister-in-law was sent immediately to the hospital as she had a concussion. But fortunately, she was okay and only needs to recover from a broken right leg. However, my mother-in-law was badly injured and was left with a serious disability in the lower half of her. If my sister-in-law had reported the incident, my mother-in-law would have received a prison sentence for sure. However, my sister-in-law did not file a report because she was concerned about what neighbors around would say. I know that my mother-in-law set up the trap on the stairs against me, but it was not me who was caught in the trap. If my sister-in-law, who was the victim of the crime, did not want to charge my mother-in-law with the crime, I have no choice but to respect her decision. I have no sympathy for my mother-in-law who fell for her own trap. We felt our lives were in danger, so we insulated ourselves from my mother-in-law and officially moved to my parents' house. Because of that incident, my husband stayed with us for a couple of weeks, but when we found a place to live, he went back to overseas again. I thought I could go on living without having a deal with my mother-in-law. However, I underestimated the way a criminal like my mother-in-law thinks. About a month after I started living with my parents, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered the phone, not realizing that it was my mother-in-law on the other end of the line. Hello, it's me. It's been a while. What do you want from us? Why are you so angry? We are family. We don't have a family member who takes human life lightly.
You've got to be kidding me. I gotta go.
Wait a minute. You know what?
I'm in trouble. My daughter hasn't come to see me since then. My son is abroad and I'm having a hard time making a living on my own. How can she be so disrespectful? I almost lost my life because of her. I can't. Oh no. I'm in your grandmother's shoes. You must feel sorry for me. I'm a cripple too. What? Blood is rushing to my head. It's not the same. Don't you dare compare yourself with my grandmother. You set your own trap and you fell into it. It's called a karma, and there's no one there to save you from being alone. It's hard to live alone. So what? This phone number is new, isn't it? You arranged it yourself. You can live on your own. Just don't call me again. No matter how many times you call, I won't pick up. Never. My mother-in-law was still talking, but I hang up without hesitation. She was a person who only thought about herself to the end. I had no idea that one word from the doctor could change the future. But the doctor's insensitive comment revealed my mother-in-law's true nature. Sooner or later, it would have been impossible to hide.
Now, at 1 year and 3 months old, my son is beginning to waddle and walk. Growing up doesn't have to be. If he grows slowly, it's just fine if we take care of him slowly in his pace. I will continue to be grateful for the support I receive from the people around. I'm going to live with my family of 3 in our own pace. Mother-in-law, you have exactly what I can't believe you fell for. The trap you set yourself. Punishment really